we have some really cool stuff to go through today. I am super excited to get to share a little bit of a sneak peek of what's coming up in the next big release for Invoke. This is just one of those features that sounds cool, you know it's possible, and then you figure out how to build it and it just does everything you hoped it would do. It's a really, really cool feature. The feature that we're going to talk about today is the upcoming release of Select Object. What Select Object does is it allows you to very easily kind of pull out certain regions of an image. You can create a mask from it. You can create a new raster layer from it. We've also enhanced a lot of the layer manipulation so that it becomes a lot easier to move layers around. We'll talk about all of those features today. But Select Object is really going to be the highlight today. Let's start with something simple. I'm going to call out just something that people may not know. A lot of times when people are dragging to the canvas, they might throw this in and then they have to fiddle with the bounding box and get everything like just so and just right. If you right click New from Image Canvas, what that's going to do is it's going to automatically resize everything for you. It just pops it in. If you have a much larger image, it'll resize it for you. The bounding box will get resized. Right click New from Image Canvas. That's coming in the upcoming release. I think right now, if you send to Canvas, it'll do the same thing, but just know that that's a good way to get started. So we're on the canvas. We've got this kind of like comic book illustrative mage type thing. I'm going to right click and I've got a new Select Object button, right? And Select Object is going to open up a new panel. We can read a little bit more about the tooltip and kind of what it does, but I'm gonna tell you what it does. We are going to add points that we want to kind of indicate this is the core of our object. This is kind of what I'm asking you to pull out. So I'm going to put a couple points on our mage here. And what it's going to do is it's going to pop that out. We can see it's pulsing. It's kind of selected that image. We know that that's there. I can invert that if I want to. So that'll switch that out. Now I'm selecting the inverse of it. And then I can choose what I want to do with that selection. So I can save that as and replace the current layer. What that's going to do is that will effectively take the selected area and overwrite the raster layer. So if I did this with this invert, it would keep all of the background and not the mage. What I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to create a new in-paint mask from that selection. And what do I have now? I have everything that's in the background automatically selected. I don't have to go in and fiddle with it. It's perfect. It's everything I want it to be. That's great. We love that. So good. Now we can do some denoising, right? Like, okay, we want this to be a mage in city, village, something like that. Now, we still have to go in and figure out how to get the color in that we want, right? So we can either do another raster layer and kind of like fill in that area, or we can have it kind of overwrite this. If I want to take this, this fella here and create a new raster layer from him, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do our select object here. We're going to get this guy popped out. I'm going to save that as a new raster layer. Now what do I have? I have a clean background. I've got this guy popped out into a new layer. Obviously, if I've done that, I don't really need this in-paint mask because it'll automatically fill in. But I have all of these ways now of popping things out, pulling things in, and it just is so nice. It's so nice. It's so easy. It makes things super clean. The benefit of pulling this fella out instead of just doing an in-paint mask is that I can kind of draw underneath him a new raster layer. I can come in and kind of create that village content that I want. I can choose what colors I want and go from there. So I've got both ways of doing it. I'll delete my in-paint mask and then we'll kind of like hide that raster layer. And I'm going to move my raster layers around. Now I can kind of come in and just fill in this village. Now, we've got two ways that I can approach getting the background content for this. I can manually draw it. I can kind of come in and rough in, the pieces in the background that I want to be there. I can rely on my infill selection. So I can either do that based on the colors that are inside of this image, or I can choose the color that I want. So I can kind of come in and say everything in the background is going to be this color. But what's a really cool trick is I can hide this guy, and I can say a city village. And what's going to happen is that's going to generate that as a new raster layer, right? I've got that kind of popped in. Oh, of course, and we're generating a fella here. We don't want that fella, so let's flatten this. We're not doing character concept art. We're not doing character art. Do environment art. Say character in the negative. I don't want a character right now. I'm just trying to create a background. Probably should have used a different prompt template for that, but you live and you learn. So now we've got our kind of like background here. We love it. It's great. I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to turn on our mage character, and I'm going to move him around. I'm going to transform him a little bit. If you're transforming and you want to see kind of the background, you can turn off the isolated preview. Isolated preview is just kind of letting you see it by itself, but if you turn that off, you can kind of get that. So we can kind of pull him down to where we want him to be, and we'll apply that. And here's another cool thing that I love with this new release. It's so cool. Any of these layers, we now have a copy to, right? So I can copy this layer to a control layer. I can copy this layer to an in-paint mask. So I've already done the cutout here. I'm going to right click and copy this raster layer to an in-paint mask, and boom, I've got an in-paint mask for that layer already. It's perfectly mapped to him because he's already a cutout. It's done for me. So I've got all of these ways of kind of like pulling stuff out and kind of reorienting myself. It's super, super nice. What I want to do though, yes, somebody's, the chat is going wild. The chat is going wild. These are wild times. These are wild times. So we just have so much like more control now. And it's super, super cool. It's super fun. So if we want to, I'm going to copy this fella to a control layer, and we'll do a scribble. So we've got our like scribble control layer there. I'm going to save that as. Now when you're doing filter, you actually also have all of the same functions. So we can save this as a new control layer or just replace the current one. So we'll replace the current one. And now maybe I don't want to in-paint at all. Maybe I just want to do a complete image to image. So we'll do a mage in a village, concept art, blah, 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 blah. So we're just going to regenerate this whole thing. Give ourselves 0.75 and maybe 0.5 and let it reimagine this thing. This is so good. And yeah, everyone's freaking out. Everyone loves this. It is super cool. Oh, we lost a little bit of our details on his face. That's okay. It's okay. We've got a lot of ways we can fiddle with this. So in this case, I'm gonna keep this, but this is where I really love all of these new raster layers. It's so cool. Character is still in the negative, so that probably didn't help. But what I can do is I can accept this because I like all of it. I mean, I didn't really change that much. It just kind of like destroyed the face, but it did give some nice like texture to this mage. I'm gonna accept it anyways, because what I can do, I'll hide our control layers. I can come in and I can just delete out the area from that raster layer that destroyed the part I didn't want it to destroy. So I can kind of tweak it as I see fit, and I get that face back, but I still kept all of the other stuff there. So I got all of the details, and then I was able to kind of go in and fiddle with that piece. So now I can do some in-paint mask. If I, bring the bounding box in, let's say we want to do like this, a close-up of this person here. We're going to go in and do some in-painting on the face area, and we'll just see what we get. Oh, isn't that good? Isn't that good? Don't we like that? Boom. Cool. Look at that. How quick was that, right? I mean, I think we're gonna have to find some other stuff to do. We did all of that in 12 minutes or less. That's pretty cool, huh? So there's just a lot there's a lot of really cool ways that you can use these things. I mean, the number of options that you have and how you work with your layers now is just like, it's really ballooned. I really like it. Somebody asked questions. Oh, I gotta get through these questions. Let's ask them. If you cut things out and put them in new places, how does one apply the new scene's lighting and such? It's a good question. If you have kind of like very disparate cutouts, if it's kind of like, whoa, these look very different, then it can be a good idea to use a low opacity to try to like do a little bit of the correction on color, to kind of like show where the highlights would be. If you're just bringing shapes together and you're using them as a control layer, the scene will automatically kind of like figure out the lighting. It's really when you have the raster content itself where that gets a little bit muddled. You'll find that lighting is kind of automatically corrected as you turn your denoising strength up. So it's going to go, it's going to kind of look at the image and try to figure out how to reconcile all of it as that gets turned higher and higher. So it will fix that for you if you're transforming the image, but that's where it's often good if you do go to a high denoising strength, but you want to keep the core coherent structure, using a control layer in tandem with that. So in this case, like, let's say I like this image, but I want to really like give it some more juice and reimagine it. If I wanted to change colors, for example, but I want to keep this core composition, I'll delete my control layer. I'm going to merge all of this together. I'm going to copy this to, actually, I'm going to convert it to a control layer. And we'll do a scribble. And maybe change this to line art edge. Cool. Save that. And now we've got a mage in a village with a red cloak. Right now we're just doing completely new image, completely ignoring what was there before. This will give me something. We'll see if I need a regional guidance for this. But this is going to automatically like fix all of the, lighting issues and things like that. It kind of brings it all together. Would I tweak some of this stuff? Yes. Would I probably go in and add a regional prompt of red cloak here so that red doesn't bleed everywhere? Probably. So let's say with a cloak, just going to do it here just to show you what I mean. I'm going to do regional guidance, and I'm going to say red cloak. And I'll give it just a little weight, a little plus weight there. And we are going to add that to this region here. Yada, yada, yada. And then we'll generate that. And that'll just keep the red kind of contained a little bit. Still looks like red got a little bit out, but mostly it's there. So you kind of get the idea, right? You get the idea on how we can control this stuff. That would be how I recorrect for lighting, is kind of doing a regeneration on more of the image. Obviously can do a lot of like raster layer painting and all that kind of stuff, but super, super cool. All right, we're going to wipe away our canvas and jump into another use case. So I'll do the same thing here. I'll just bring this in as a raster layer. We've got this kind of like architectural photo. I'm gonna have to change my prompt and all that stuff once we get into it. But let's say, for example, I like this like thing here. It's like whatever we want to call that, this like bench, and it's a moment, right? I think in it's experiential design here. It's like a little moment, little nature area. So I'm going to take this and select it and hope that it gives us what I want. There we go. We got it. I'm going to save that as a new raster layer. And whoa, look at that. We got a new one over here. Put it wherever we want. I like that. Cool. All right. So we're going to take that magic. We're going to transform it, and boom, I'm flipping it. Now we got another one over there. Whoa, come on. That's pretty cool. All right. And then what do I want to do? I want to inpaint that. I want to fix it, right? Okay, well, I'm going to copy that raster layer to an inpaint mask. Voila, it's already selected for me. Holy smokes, come on. Like, how easy is that? It's magic. So we're going to do architectural visualization, modern building with some benches and plants. Not getting super articulate here in the prompt. It's not going to be the best prompt in the world, but I'm just showing you the idea. So we're going to do that, and we're going to keep our denoising strength at like 0.5. Maybe I'll do one at 0.65. But because the inpaint mask is there, and because we do a little bit of blurring on the edges already, it is going to fix all of it. It's going to fix everything inside of that. So now I've got this other plant thing over here with this bench, and it's just magic. It's already done, right? It's everything I wanted it to be. If I want to do the same thing over here on this this plant, we'll just go back and do our selection on this guy again, and then we'll save that as an inpaint mask. We'll do the same thing on that side, right? We're going to fix that side. Now we got two perfect fixed plants. Isn't it great? It's everything that we wanted it to be. It's that simple. It's that easy. Just moving around. You got all the control in the world that you want. It's just magic. It's magic. And if you ever want to go back, let's say we wanted to do, I don't know, both of these at the same time. I'm going to convert this one to an inpaint mask. I convert this one to an inpaint mask. Both of those are selected right there. We'll regenerate it again. Now we're going to regenerate both of those pots. Come on. Is that not cool? I am very excited about this feature. I think this is so cool. Some people are now asking a lot of questions. People asking a lot of questions. This is great. A lot of statements around just how cool it is. There's a lot of magics and a lot of like exclamation marks. This is in an RC right now, a release candidate for the open source people who are helping us test it, giving us feedback on it, but it is going to be released next week for everybody. So this will be a very full featured release. Along with that, we've got a couple of other enhancements. There's, IP adapter for Flux and, a couple of other things like that. But this is so cool. And this is just core workflow. It benefits you whether you're using SD 1.5, SDXL, Flux, all of it is going to be enhanced by the ability to use this select object feature, because this is just a fundamental workflow update for the canvas. It makes it a lot easier to use. The ability to kind of like move things around and copy things to an inpaint mask and reuse them. It's super awesome. So another feature that I'll call out is like, let's say that I wanted these two masks or one of these masks to be, we'll just do this one. I want to copy that inpaint mask to a regional guidance layer. Now the regional guidance is selected too. And I can say, this is, whatever this is. We'll just go crazy here. I'm going to try to get it to break this. Pineapples. I don't know that it's going to actually do pineapples, but we're going to try. We're going to try to see what it does. somebody said I should do bonsai instead. We'll do a bonsai tree. We got one that's a pineapple. Hey, I did a pineapple. One that's a bonsai tree. I think we got a little bonsai tree there. Look at that little bonsai tree. Someone said a dwarf with green hair. We're gonna see. I don't think it's gonna do it because it's not really fit our global prompt. We're gonna have to do a dwarf with green hair in the global prompt because everything else fits that, but you know, that one doesn't. You know, it's gonna be kind of hard. We might need to turn our strength up. We'll try to get it. I'm trying to help you, even though it's a little bit jokey. Yeah, it's kind of doing like a dwarf tree. We're just gonna keep trying. We're gonna go up. We're gonna go up even more. It really doesn't want to go away from trees. It's just because of architectural stuff. We need to kind of like do concept art if we want to go get that dwarf in there. All right. Well, we're gonna give up on the dwarf. I think we got our pineapple. We got our bonsai tree. We've got options here. We'll do a pineapple. What's wrong? There's nothing wrong with pineapple. Now we got that. So the regional guidance, the ability to kind of like use the in-paint mask and the regional guidance together and really like pair those so that you don't have to like remask the same area. Super cool. Super cool. Very, very helpful in a lot of ways. All right, let's see if we got questions. Somebody said super impressed with it so far. It'll only get better. True. Cool. I think all of the questions are answered, so that's good. Man, we were blazing through this. Everything's gotten so much quicker now since I don't have to like mask anything manually. It's just like pop, you know, it goes so fast. Now I've got to figure out how to fill all the rest of the time. Used to just rely on you watching me do small tedious activities, and now all the tedious stuff is gone, and now I'm left with a lot of opportunities to put my foot in my mouth, I'm sure. So we're gonna try something else. We're going to let's take this fella here. We'll select our object. We'll go pop, 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 pop. See if we get them. Man, just perfect. Just exactly what I wanted. What do we want to do here? We'll take this as a new raster layer. Cool, we'll like that. We'll take out our concept art-ish background. And maybe we want our robot to be on the beach. Maybe we want him to be, okay, we've got some questions. Why did you select those points to get the whole character? Just the legs and the torso and the head? Honestly, I don't really know that I'd need to do that. Let's play around with it. Let's see how many points I need. It is better to have fewer points. So you don't necessarily need a lot. I'm going to do 1 point. We'll just see what we get with 1 point. Most of it, right? Most of it. It's missing a little bit of stuff. What I am doing, and there's no science behind this. I'm just a person using it for the first time, just like you. I am going to like the main edges that I want to get out of it and trying to make sure it pops them all out. That's pretty much it. Yeah. So, yeah. So I'll save that as I'll just replace the current. What did I do? Okay. Oh, that works. Okay. Someone asked, okay, these are good questions. We got a couple questions here. When merging multiple layers, does the layer that is underneath affect the main one that you want to keep? I'm gonna explain how merging works, and hopefully this will answer your question. If I have 2 layers that I am merging together, so let's say I have, I've got this like big old blob of orange. If I merge all of these together, I hit the merge button here. That's now an orange layer, right? So it definitely affects it. If I bring this raster layer up above it and I merge it, now I have that, right? It is merged, it's flattened. So it's basically whatever the top point that it can see is from a layer's perspective, that's the layer it keeps. So whatever you're seeing, that's what's going to be merged together. So I'm going to take that out because I answered your question and go to the next question, which is, could you only select the eye or a horn? The answer is it will be very difficult to do that. Let's show you. So if we do a select object, let's say we're going to do just the head. You know what? I'm on the wrong layer here. Let's go back. All right, select object. We'll just do the head. What it's going to do is going to probably select most of this guy again, right? Again, this is like I mentioned, it's selecting the object. It's not part of, it is selecting the whole thing. You can try, although it does not work very well, to like say, I don't want these things. And that's what the exclude is for. And it will, in some cases, listen to you, and in other cases, just ignore you completely. So we're kind of continuing to kind of expand what we don't want, and we're chopping it up and kind of pulling it up closer towards the torso. This is just a function of how the ML model works, is it's looking to find the biggest coherent object it can. In some cases, even when you're looking at like, hey, look, I really don't want you to include these guys. It just doesn't know exactly what it would be looking at otherwise. So you can get closer to what you want. And then in this case, if you wanted just the head, you know, let's say in paint mask, once you get as close as you can just bring it out and, you know, erase what you don't want, right? So you can always manipulate it after the fact. It's just the way that it goes. We are looking at a couple of things that we can do to improve the performance of that. The beauty of this is there's actually a new segmentation model that we are going to probably update to in the back end, which will just enhance this feature automatically. So that's something that will improve this. And that's, yes, Vic from the collaboration team mentioned that that's something that's coming, is the new segmentation model, which will just boost performance and still have all the same functionality. But even then, I mean, I think the magic here is just getting most of the stuff. And you know, it's a lot easier to erase a big blob than it is to go in and detail exactly the in-painting mask at the top. So it's still very, very useful, still very powerful. So we will do our select a raster layer again. We'll do select object. We'll pull this fella out one more time. Great. I just love this feature. It's so cool. There's a new raster layer. Take this out. Now let's say that we want to put him, where do we want to put him? Let's put him on the beach. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to do, you know, like well, you know what? I'll just fill the whole thing in and then we'll figure out where the beach ends. We'll do like maybe like this sky. And then we'll do some like darker blue for the ocean. It's probably a little bit too much ocean, I think. Like, that seems more realistic for the perspective, right? And we can either do the whole thing, or we can, what I probably want to do is I'm going to take this raster layer, I'm going to copy it to a control, and keep the canny there. Just want to kind of make sure it stays. And then I am going to just regenerate the whole thing. I'm going to change my prompt though. A steampunk looking robot standing on a beach. Oh. He said, welcome to Pennzoil Cola. It's funny. Someone said have the robot hold a cocktail or an ice cream. We can do that. We can do that. We'll add that in momentarily. So now we're on this kind of like concept art beach. We like it. Let's have ourselves do a little bit of like do a little martini glass. So we're gonna draw in. This is where I get the tablet out. I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. Fight. That's I want to just draw its little thing. Cool, we like that. We've got a little sketch there of our martini glass. And underneath that, I'm just gonna put in some like this. Too transparent, a little bit more. Doing a little bit of transparency here, so that it's like I could probably do that on the same layer. And then the beauty of this is I can just right click and copy this to a regional guidance and say martini. Holding a martini. And then I can copy this regional guidance to a new in-paint mask. And voila, my in-paint is there. I might tweak this a little bit. Pretty cool. This will get reposted to YouTube. Somebody asked that question. So let's see what we get. I'm wondering if I'm going to need to change this canny. Probably will. I'm worried that it's not going to have the martini glass. It's going to lose it all. Yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. I'm going to delete this guy out. Let's see. We want to keep this in-paint mask where it is. And what I want to do, probably just turn off this canning and copy this raster layer to its own control net. When you watch it when you watch it do the filter, you see how poor the sketch was. We're going to turn that to scribble, and we're going to give it a lot of freedom here. We'll just turn that stuff down so that it really doesn't worry too much about that. And then we'll regenerate that. And that way we're just like controlling exactly where the martini glass is. Hey, look at that. We got our martini. We got our robot martini. Somebody said, yes, scaling the bounding box could definitely give some more detail. We can certainly do that. So we'll bring the bounding box down, and now we're dealing at a much tighter region and generating at a higher resolution. It's good to have that kind of like big picture there. It's all good. Oh, look at that. Again, my sketch quality notwithstanding, we do have our new martini. So we've taken our robot, we've taken him out to the beach, we've given him a martini glass. We're happy. We'll delete our control layers just to really marvel in what we have done. Voila. Yes. And he says, does demo picks hardest thing in the world out of AI? Hands. Well, if we wanted to fix the hands here, we could. What I'd probably do is really just go in and, just do some light touch-ups to make it seem like it makes more sense without doing a whole lot more than that. You don't really need a whole lot more than just some manual work there to fix those things. All right, look at that. Voila, easy peasy. Someone asked the question, could scaling the bounding box help with the selection tool? Like just to select a portion of something. Um, no, I don't think. Um, well, you know what? Okay. Okay. Someone came up with a really cool idea. Okay. I got an idea. Somebody said, what if this is not the bounding box, but it gave me this idea. Okay, so let's say we wanted just the head, right? I can right click and I can copy this clip out. So create from bounding box a new raster layer. So everything else underneath that, like I just have the head, and I'll turn all the other stuff back on. But when I do select object on this layer, oh, I did the wrong layer. Don't pick the wrong layer. That's the wrong thing to do. When you pick the right layer, I'll do isolated preview here. Boom, 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 just so you can see this. It still picks up the body, but it does get closer. So it is at least like some way of getting that. Yeah, it still wants to get all of the body. It's just because it's like, yeah. So it's a good idea. It's a good idea. Maybe when we update the segmentation model, it'll get a little bit more nuanced there, but it's one way that you can do it. If we did that, then the selected area would still only be the top part, and so it does cut out quite a bit more. So if we did that as an in-paint mask, now we've got just that region as an in-paint mask, and then you erase the stuff that you don't want, like the chat's saying right there. You just erase it. Voila, easy peasy, easy peasy. Some questions for our on air talent. Is this the same SAM detector from Comfy UI's impact nodes? I would presume that largely it's very close to the same. I don't know that node. I don't know that node pack, and I don't know if it's using V1 or V2 of SAM. If it is using V1, this is exactly the same. If it's using V2, that's the model that we're talking about updating to. So it will be. But yes, it's largely, this is, I always like to be transparent about where, stuff comes from. And this is coming from open source research. That's why open source is so good, right? Segment Anything was a model that came out from Meta. They released it, and it is a multi-purpose segmentation model. You can do a lot of stuff with it. What we have done is we've built a really nice experience around using it to select and then integrate directly into the Invoke kind of workflows and experience. So all of that segmentation allows us to effectively do all of these cool things with layers like control layers, raster layers, masks. We're just leveraging the research that they did to extend it into the workflow inside of Invoke. So it's the same underlying technology. We've just done a lot more to build that interface around it. Does the bounding box impact the object selection? So like I just showed and answered, but I'll answer explicitly, the model is looking at the raster layer, not just the raster layer in the bounding box. So it is looking at the entirety of that raster layer. If we, for example, delete out this head, we look and select our robot on the layer underneath, we are selecting the whole thing, right? So it's not just in the bounding box, it's selecting the whole raster layer itself. I'll also note that, I've got isolated preview on, that's looking at just this layer. If I turn isolated preview off, we can see that it's not taking into consideration the martini, right? This new martini that we added. It is purely looking at the one individual layer. If you want the martini in there, if you want to add that all together, that's where you would do a merge, and then you would operate on the new merged layer. right? So then we can add in our martini glass, and that'll get added to this. Although you notice if I do just the martini, it actually did include that. Get that martini. There we go. Now we got the martini glass. And then we can save that as our end paint mask. Voila. Does this work on Mac? I'm installing the RC now, so I'll know real soon. I was just curious if you could speak about Mac support. I have not tested it on Mac, so you will have to let us know. I presume that if it can run stable diffusion or flux, then it probably can run the SAM model, but I haven't tried it, so do let us know if you run into any issues. I think it should work. Is the selection supposed to be close to pixel perfect in terms of selecting the object all the way to the edge and stopping only when the next pixel is blue? It does seem like it's missing edges several places. Yeah, the segmentation model is not perfect. I mean, I think when you ask if it's supposed to be, you would want it to be close to pixel perfect. That's like the nature of a quality segmentation model as it is. For the purposes on our canvas, it most of the time is not really consequential. And the main reason for that is when we run in painting, let's just do this real quick. Let's run in painting on this region just so that I can show you what's happening. We're blurring the edges of the in painting anyways. That's controllable in the compositing section. You can actually say how much of this you want. So let's just go crazy and turn the edge size up to 128. I'm going to turn it back down so I don't forget it. And you can see that with that default blur, it's kind of coming outside those regions a little bit. And when it goes really far out, you can see it's changing large portions that weren't selected. Whereas the one that had a smaller blur radius or edge size is just doing a smaller region. So it's not super consequential. It obviously, like you want those details if you're doing like the raster layer, and improving the segmentation model should move it closer to getting kind of picture perfect. But overall, it is getting most of it, and in a lot of cases is going to be like what you need. Do you like this? This guy's robot head is pretty cool. I like that. I'm going to accept that. We accept you, robot. We accept you. We can see before and after, and most of it, as you can see, got picked. Yeah, this one looks cool. Somebody said there is no perfect segmentation model at the moment. Even the best falls short of pixel perfect. That is true. That is true. It's super cool though, right? Super cool. Do we have another example here? Yeah, let's just do this one. This one's fun. You might think that this image is too hard for the segmentation model. You also might think there's no way it's going to be able to find this fella. Well, I had news for you. Someone said, I do think that's too hard for the segmentation model. All right, let's give it a test. We'll get some hands, we'll get some head, we'll get some body. And we'll get down here. Look at that. Pop, 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 pop. Miss a little bit of his hair. Yeah, magic wand could never. Ta-da. Save as in paint mask. Boom. Come on. Now, if we prompt for a steampunk looking robot standing on the beach holding a martini with this image, I imagine it's going to look terrible, but we're going to do it anyways because that's what we do here. Oh man, look at that. We got something. I don't know that it's good, but we got something. It is kind of steampunky. It's definitely something. That's the chat So someone said higher denoise. Let's go. Let's see what we get if we go higher. It's going to be it's going to be wild. Whoa. There we go. There's our steampunk. You see a little bit of beach coming in down there. Look at that. Look at that. So funny. Okay. Okay. Whoa. Look at that. We're unhinged right now. This is crazy talk. Okay. We got 14 minutes left. Like, we've gotten through so much stuff so quickly because of this new tool. It's going to be just kind of, it's going to be hard to keep up. I'm going to have to come up with some more content because we're moving quickly now. The last thing that we'll do is I'm going to take this and do, oops, I said send to upscale. That's not what I wanted to do. We're going to go back to the canvas and we're going to do a new image canvas. And that'll do the resizing for us. We're just going to pop this boy. Pop this boy. If somebody said, you're saying this saves time, it saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of time. You're going to have to pretend like you're working pretty soon here. All right. Look at that. Look at that. Just picked it. Just picked it right out. Now, what did it not get? It didn't get some of these crosses. Inconsequential. For the most part, it's pretty good. Then we're going to do invert. Boom. We got the background now. What do we want to do with this? We'll do in paint mask. And we're going to do a cathedral on the beach. Well, we're going to have to do some more stuff if we want to do that, aren't we? Let's do this. We'll pop this. Let's pop this out. Go back to the raster layer. Take this and pop it out to its own layer. So we got the raster layer there. And then we're going to do, well, maybe we'll convert this to control layer. Do a canny. Boom. And then we're going to do, I guess we don't really need to do this in paint mask then now, do we? No. It's a good idea. We're going to add a raster layer. And I'm going to do, just going to do some quick roughen of this beach. So we're going to do our opacity up all the way. So we get that full vibrant beachness. I'm obviously like really hoping to go to the beach sometime soon. There's like some subconscious stuff going on here, I can tell. So we're going to do that. And then I'm just going to do, what color do I want this cathedral to be? We'll do some like gray, maybe. Just quickly roughen. I don't need it to be perfect. I'm just kind of like putting some colors in here. We'll do the denoising pretty high. And then we'll go for it. See what we get. So I got an extra canny layer. I have a feeling I didn't get all the pixels here, so it's just infilling that. I'm gonna have to do it again. No, I got it. It's good. Oh, it made it all like grassy. Oh, we need to decrease this. I think I used the wrong canny model too. We'll decrease this, give it a little bit more freedom. Oh, somebody said make it a sand castle. That'd be pretty cool. All right, we'll do a sand castle cathedral on the beach. Okay, we're starting to get our cathedral, and I've got this hyper concept art thing going on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a raster layer. I'm going to try to just get this to be a little bit more sandy colored. And we'll do that one. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. It's got some like cathedral elements going on in there. I'm gonna like try to cover those up a little bit, but it's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, Discord. People are complaining about Discord. I know Discord's imperfect. Uh, there's not a whole lot I can do for you there. Uh, other than we can figure out a different place to stream. Time to go back to Skype. Time to go back to like TeamSpeak or something. Uh, yeah, I really don't know what is going on with Discord these days. We've had a couple problems. I think it's pretty cool. If I do sand, if we increase sand, what is it going to do? It's going to be very sandy, I'm sure. So cool. So cool. Yeah, we like it. Even though it's got this like light here, like stained glass. Maybe if we did stained glass in the negative prompt, get it to avoid that. I don't know what it's pulling out from its relationship with cathedrals that look like stained glass, maybe a little bit, but there's still a little bit of light there. Something's crazy going on. Anyways, it's still a sandcastle. We like it. It looks good. Oh, that's nice. Somebody came up with the idea of in painting a shell. That's cute. All right, let's do that. We're gonna just zoom up on this thing here, and I'm gonna clip this little fella out. Merge this. I'm gonna create from the bounding box a little control layer, just a little control layer here, just to keep some of the structure. I'm gonna erase that. I'm gonna draw myself a little shell. Maybe I'll turn up my size here just a little bit. Yep. All right, so that's my little control shell here. Turn this to the scribble, bring this guy down. So I'm choosing scribble because I've got definitely a non-canny kind of scribble in here, and I'm bringing the strength down. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to do some shell color. So we'll do this out and maybe pop this in as a new raster layer right there. So I'm going to like guide the color a little bit. Let me give it a little bit of a brownish kind of like hue as well. So pull in some of that in. And then easy in painting. Right click, copy raster layer to in paint mask. Boom. Maybe I'll add a little bit more. And we'll say a shell on a sand castle, cathedral on the beach. Focus on the shell quite a bit. And we'll see. I may want to do regional guidance there. We'll see if it picks it up. That's perfect. Voila. Or scribble. And if I don't like, this darkness in the background, I can kind of take that out. We can kind of tweak it a little bit. That darkness there. Out. Maybe that darkness over there is okay. And then once I figure out what I really like, I can just do one more pass over that area with a lower denoising strength, just to kind of like tighten it up a little bit. Voila. Okay. We did it. We did it. I think some people were hypothesizing that the kid who sculpted this sandcastle is also a glassmith, doing stained glass, which is fun. We're getting claps, applause. I think we did it. I think we showcased just about 1,000 different ways that this tool can be useful. We've got 4 minutes left, so if anyone's got questions, I'll answer them. But I think we have really jam-packed this session with a lot of content. I'm very excited by this feature. It's going to be super cool. Someone said, so someone's asking, it's hard to drag the bounding box sometimes to the exact size of an image. So let's say this, in this case, we've got this here, and it's like, you know, we kind of, you're like, we want to get it to the edge. It's because of snap to grid. So you can turn snap to grid off, but the true hack here, when you press Control while dragging the edges, Control will turn the snap to grid off, and you can go pop right to where you want to go. So that's the easy trick. Just for a little bit more nuance of kind of like why there's even with the control, it's not pixel by pixel, there's still a little bit of a snap. The underlying technology requires everything to be in a multiple of 8. So it goes 8 by 8 pixels when you use control. And when you have snap to grid on, it goes 64 by 64. So that's why you're getting that. So control will give you a little bit more fluidity. The other thing that you can do is, yes, you can do fit bounding box to layers, and that will just go to your layers. Yeah. Random last question, but glad we got that answered. So with all of that, stay excited going into next week. We will be releasing this soon. If you want to try it now in the open source version, it is in release candidate. You can test it, give us feedback, find any bugs that you want to find, and we will see you next week for another studio session. Take care, everybody. Real fun.